Welcome to episode 5 of the Way2Cheap Podcast, a cheaply made podcast with two budget hosts. I'm one of your hosts, Noah.
And I'm Hans, otherwise known as Way2K.
There you go. I always forget that I should really say my YouTube channel in there too, but it's not that important. We talk about it right after the intro.
The Way2Cheap Podcast.
What's that? Is that The Simpsons? Okay.
Yeah. That was my
Nice.
cheap jingle for this time.
You did it before you introed yourself last time.
I know, I had to switch it up.
Oh my goodness.
Next time I'll cut
Too
you
many
off
changes.
mid-intro.
Mid-intro. My intro's only like 2 seconds long. So
Isn't
that's
that what
gonna
they
be
did
impressive.
for like Malcolm in the Middle? They had like the really like hard rock, kind of like punk, like 1, 2, 3.
Probably. I don't
know.
remember, honestly. I
Maybe
haven't
it was
watched show in so long.
that cartoon. Did you watch the cartoon where they had like the skaters and like the surfer kids?
Rocket Power?
Rocket Power, thank you.
Yeah.
That was a
Yeah, I
great
watched it.
television
I don't
show.
honestly I haven't seen it in so long that I have no idea what happened. But I did watch Rocket Power.
Maybe I'll go listen to that intro and bring it in next episode.
There you go. You should get like Barney intro or something like that.
The Barney intro.
Yeah, or just the Barney
I don't even
song.
remember what it is anymore.
You don't know the Barney song? Or
I
Arthur?
don't want to sing it for copyright though.
True. Is it copyright though? Because it was on PBS.
It's definitely copyrighted.
I don't know. Whatever. All right,
Anyways,
so episode 5. We did it.
I can't
5
believe we're
episodes
at
in.
5 episodes already.
That's pretty impressive that we've done it 5 weeks straight, except that one
Not
week where
quite
we took a week off.
5 weeks straight, but you know what?
5 out of 6 weeks. We're doing pretty good.
Not too bad. Episode 4 just dropped today. So if you left a comment on that video, we have not probably seen it yet.
Sorry.
And it won't be in that. And speaking of which, we have a comment that we missed
We
from
do.
last video, which we'll get to later on.
Yes.
But to start, let's go with the age-old topic of how's your channel doing?
Well, you want to talk about yours first? Because, I mean, I can talk about mine, but really, I thought if we want to just go with the growth part first, or do you want to go the full thing?
Okay, we'll start with growth because there's not much to mention for B.
That's-
Because I have a
that's what I
solid
was gonna
0.
say.
I have an egg.
Got a nice +0. Same with our actual channel. This weekend, I'm going to try to get us on Spotify, if I remember.
All right,
and
and if you
sign all that
help, I
stuff
will
up.
do that. There's my, bit of confidence to you that I will help if you need it.
There we go. I also will probably try to get a logo at some point, so then we can put it up on Spotify.
There we go. Also, I will
So.
say that if this was golf, I'd be winning.
That is true.
I'm under par.
You're even. You're not under par. You're just even.
Oh, well, I mean, I guess, yeah. I was talking about like 27s under 72, but, yes, I guess by
Yeah.
+0, I am even.
That's what I thought. That's what, because I'm at 362, so I think we wouldn't be playing golf with me anymore if I had 362 shots in a 18.
You might be kicked off the golf course at that point.
Yeah, seeing that you're getting hole-in-ones and like eagles every single hole, so
Yeah, we'll take it.
we'll take it. But our channel is also at a +0, which is fine, because neither of us have obviously promoted it since neither of us had a video this week.
No.
We're struggling.
Do
But
we
I'm-
know if we have our first subscriber that's like non-friend or like
I
non-us?
couldn't tell you, honestly. I haven't paid too much attention. I would assume
I don't
no.
know.
But I've gained 6, so I'm at 362, and that's pretty impressive with 0 videos this week.
I need a video to come out so that we can plug the channel more. That's what we need. We need to plug this podcast.
Yeah, I forgot to plug it in the next video that
Very
should
disappointed.
be up tomorrow, which is Friday, which was last Friday as this is going out. But
What's the next
that's-
video?
Non-Sneakerhead picks out sneakers episode 5, even though I said it was episode 6. I thought it was episode 6. It's episode 5.
You misled us all.
I did. But yes, so I'll have to throw in a quick edit there. That
That's
says
exciting.
episode 5. It is. Shelby's the guest this time.
I was going to ask, but I wasn't sure if you were going to leak that.
No, I mean that's fine. Comes out after the.
Oh, that's true. I forgot, the order.
So
that
everyone
comes
should go
out.
watch that already. Just go right to skip this podcast, pause it, open up a new tab.
Is
go
that
to my
bad for
video.
like our retention
Or if you
rate?
pause it and then come back and finish it.
All right,
I did
how about
that
this?
today.
Finish this podcast, and as soon as you're done, go check
No, they're
out
gonna
that.
forget because we're only in the first 5 minutes.
Okay.
By an hour, they're gonna be like, "Oh, what was I supposed to do?" That they said in the first 5 minutes. They're not gonna.
His
rewatch
channel
the
is
podcast.
superior to our joint channel, so go check out his channel and then
Exactly.
come back.
Exactly. So that's what we have to do. All right, now we can go into the updates about my channel. I'll go first this time because I basically already said it. Nothing new for me this week.
The big egg.
I didn't paint the sneakers like I wanted to because I got lazy and I didn't want to set up having to record it, which is my only problem.
But this weekend, in addition to the icon, getting it on Spotify, we're going to add a third. We're going to do 3 things. 3 is a magic number. It is the charm. We are going to make that episode. Well, not
Yes,
me.
maybe.
There's no me involved.
Yeah, well, we'll see about that.
I'll be there for
is
moral
this
support.
weekend.
Well, that's great. While, you can be recording it while you're watching it.
That's true. I could just put the Masters just right on the TV
As a
above
putt's
me.
like whizzing by the hole, like your hand is like just getting less steady, and you're going up the
Yeah,
shoe.
and then I ruin it because I'm get pumped because someone made a putt or something.
Will Tiger be at the Masters this week?
Do you know what happened to Tiger?
Of course. Of course.
No,
But
he will not be there.
He always makes incredible comebacks, so you never know.
Maybe Sunday he'll show up and everyone will be like, "Hey, you haven't played the other 3 days. How do we know you're allowed to play?" And then he just says, "I'm Tiger." And
I'm
say,
Tiger.
You're right, and then he
They
wins
bend
it
to his
all.
wishes. Yep.
Yeah, but back to my channel. No new video.
No
I
Tiger
should
either.
have one up. There's no Tiger on my channel. I should have one up tomorrow, which is Friday the 9th. So hopefully
exciting.
that happens. I have to edit it, and it might take a little longer than usual, but whatever.
I have faith.
I don't.
More faith than I have for a video of mine to come out Sunday. But I think I actually will spend this time this weekend making a video. I had no intention last weekend of really working on one.
Yeah, you really lied to everyone on the podcast.
That's not true. I said there's a chance, but I said it's not likely.
I think you said you had a strong chance that you might do it.
Oh, if I did lie. I never had any inclination of. But this weekend, I actually do have a plan, which if you're done, I will get to.
Yeah, I'm done. You're all good. All you now.
I can steal the floor once again.
Well,
I have
we'll
the hot
about
mic.
that.
But I do have an idea for a new series / new type of video, and they're going to be coding related. And this is my big struggle has been that like I want to keep doing something. I like making content, so I want to make YouTube videos still, but I want to also be working on projects as well. And a lot of times I get over my head with like the depth of projects. And so I think doing small coding projects and like explaining them to people will be significant or really, really fun. Not to mention that's like a lot of things that I watch on YouTube. So like I understand like those type of videos. The big thing for me would be, number one, do I put them on my main channel and split my audience? I mean, I don't have like that big of an audience.
I was about to
anyways,
say,
but
I mean, I guess you're getting rid of like the 3 people that
Right.
would watch your videos, and then they would be like, "What the heck is this?" Or maybe they're big into coding. Are you gonna change your channel to Way2 Coding though?
I'm thinking of opening a second channel.
Is it with a K or with a C?
It would be probably Way2 Coding with a C. Although maybe I could keep the K. That's actually that's something I didn't think of. I don't know how, but
maybe you can go back to your original name
no,
with the C and then put a 22 at the end. I think.
no.
Well,
We're not putting 22 back in.
There's always an option.
We've eliminated the numbers. We got to keep the numbers out. But
okay.
anyways, my real concern about opening a second channel, which you just got to take shots when you're doing YouTube anyways, but I don't want to overcommit myself to making too much content, number one. And number two, like I just don't know, like, what if I have like a video coming, can I do a video every other week, like one on each channel, right? So one video per week with alternate channels. I don't know.
I mean, you could. The only problem would be then like your audience like would be expecting only like a video every other week. Like it depending on what your audience is split up to.
Right.
So like if they're not watching for you and they just watch your whatever, we'll just say Parkitect videos on one channel and they only get 2 a month and the other ones only get 2 a month for like coding or whatever, then they're like, oh well, there's not that much content here, but I don't really feel like watching Parkitect videos.
So like my biggest thing is that I think the coding videos would be quality content enough that they could support themselves on, once a month or twice a month uploads. But I would also have to make sure that like I'm putting content out to my main channel. So that's something I have to really have an internal discussion with about. But
yeah, I mean you're fairly new still, obviously, that you could just not scrap, but like just go a whole new direction with your channel and either leave those videos that you want like that are on there and just do whatever with it, and you can just start something else, or you can just kind of do whatever you want on your main channel and hope it takes off.
My worry is depth. Like, I think that also, have you ever watched Colin and Samir?
Mm-mm.
They're a channel that they talk about a lot of YouTube things, and they interview YouTubers, and they're in a very high quality podcast, high quality audio and video. And
opposite of us is what you're saying.
Yes, they are the opposite of a cheap podcast. They're very high quality.
Hey, we admit it in our name, so.
But they had an interview with Mr. Beast, and I think he hit it right. He knows YouTube better than anybody, really.
Except PewDiePie.
Except for PewDiePie, but I mean that's arguable. They're pretty close.
Dude could post a video about nothing, and then people would be like, "All right, 4 million views."
True, but I guess the moral of that story is that you have to think about the scope of like your audience, right? So, with gaming is probably like the second or third biggest audience on YouTube, with reacts being number one, and I don't know where coding sits on that scale. I don't know if they're, 10, 20. I don't know the answer to that question.
I mean, if you're looking in like super big, you're like, like super like wide, then it's whatever, because everyone can like find their niche, and like
right.
Who would think? I don't know all of like the metrics or anything, but like Binging with Babish like is a cooking channel, and like he did something different. And then he's obviously massive now. When I was watching him at like 100K, because he would post on like Reddit or something.
Sure.
So I'm like, he found what he had to do and then just stuck with it, and it growed from there. Like, obviously you can go down gaming. There's a lot more people watching, but there's also a lot more people making that content.
Yep.
So.
It really is a double-edged sword. So you got to pick and choose your battles and figure out where you want to go.
Yeah, that's the hardest part, is find exactly where you want to go. Like me, I know mostly where I want to stay in, and like I don't really stray too far from it. I did put a couple hockey things on there, but that was mostly because I didn't have any content ideas. So I was like, let's throw a hockey.
Still, like, part of being like a hype beast and like is unboxing, and
that's why I was like, I'm unboxing things, so I don't have a problem with it. But like, if you watch my channels for like sneaker like mystery boxes, it's really not important. But one of those videos actually like popped off, which is nice. So
yeah, it's tough, right? I think if you were a bigger channel, you'd definitely get the metrics to know like which is actually something interesting too. I saw this in another video. I'm not sure, so I forget. Pardon me for not crediting the right people, but that it really takes like till the second video of like a series to know if that's idea sticking or not, right? Because the first video is always going to pique people's interest, whether or not they're going to like the concept or not. They're going to click on it, they're going to watch it, and then maybe that stats look amazing, but the second video they don't click into because after watching the first one they don't like. So it's that second video in like a chain that really lets you know if that's like a good direction to go.
Yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense for like bigger people, I guess. I'm also thinking about my one series that I have going on now, and it's not really getting any interest in the first 2 episodes, but I think that's partially because the first 2 episodes are pretty pointless. But I think if I was going to be successful, it's going to be from 3 on for the painting the sneakers, because people want to see the customizing stuff. But like, I see what you're saying. Like, if you put like a part 1 out there, a lot of people will watch part 1, and if they don't like it anymore, then they're like, all right, I'm not going to watch part 2. And then they keep going as long as they like are interested.
I guess the example wasn't bulletproof because, that was more so like gaming videos. So like, I'm going out and playing Minecraft most of the time, and I switch and I want to go play, Parkitect, let's just say, because it's on the top of my head. But, if episode 1 might be really great because everybody wants to figure out what is Parkitect, what's involved, like what's that going to look like. But, after episode 1, they might just be like, well, I don't like this game. I don't like the direction you're going, so I'm not going to watch it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know that's definitely where you have to get like your actual fans, or like episode 2 on would be where you find the people that are actually going to continue watching and stuff. So
always on the fine line of innovating and keeping your audience.
Yeah, that's the hardest part, I imagine, for anyone not our size. Like any decently bigger YouTuber is always finding what you can and can't do. And I know that's like obviously one of the people look at all the time, like the metrics and stuff, and like, oh, this video get to number 1? Can I keep doing this stuff? Or is this like my worst video out of my last 10? So,
Oh yeah, that's something that's really common. I've heard that, and I assume you're calling out like Graham Stefan in there, right?
I just in general, well, I use the YouTube Studio app, which is the thing people always look at,
True.
which is like, so like my last video is 4 out of 10 after 10 days or if the first day, 10 days and 7 hours. So like, you know where your video is ranking if it's still doing good. Like some can pop off like really quickly and then just not do anything after a while. So it's just, you got to look at what's working, like what does it right. It's also like time of day. Like if you for some reason don't post at the same time every day,
that's true.
And like one video comes out at like 6 and the other one comes out at like 10 a.m. Like you just don't know who's going to be watching at that point.
Do they have like the most optimal time to post? I would imagine that it's probably mid-morning. That way that the West Coast can see it.
I mean, I assume it matters who your audience is for the most part. I mean, if you're a British YouTuber and you're posting at like 6 p.m. our time, it's not really going to help you out when you're 6 hours behind and your videos are coming out like midnight or something. So really all just depends on your audience, I imagine.
It's really interesting because I do know that I'd have to actually go look, but I feel like Mr. Beast posts on the weekends sometimes too. It's not like always a weekday for him.
Yeah, but he's also Mr. Beast, which
That's
is the
true.
thing. Where his videos will go trending right away, and then he'll just get random people watching it anyways. They have no idea who he is. So that's like, I mean, that's why I don't post on the weekends. I don't know why. I think mostly just because I personally don't watch a ton on the weekends. I'd rather watch stuff during the day, during the weekday. So I go off what I personally do. So
that's true. That's a fair point. I post on Sundays because that's when I have my free time to really make sure that if an episode's getting out, it's getting out and it has high quality, and I can kind of watch and see, what's going on that first day. I don't have enough time, or at least bandwidth, during a weekday to really look.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's what I do. I always make sure I'm always like doing stuff while I work, have YouTube videos on. So that's when I'm watching a lot. Like I purposely try to not watch stuff after work because I'm like, then I won't have anything to watch tomorrow.
I've actually noticed that recently for me. That's something I didn't do before, but I will now try my best to hold off on watching like exclusive content or exciting content until the week.
Yeah, that's what I do because I'm like I won't want to watch stuff, and like plus once you like if you watch a decent amount of stuff and then you just start finding stuff that you're like, this is boring now, like I've watched too much of this or something like that, then it just gets not as exciting.
Well, plus then it just hogs up your recommendation feed.
Yeah.
You have so much new content that you don't really want to see anymore, like being shown to you, and you have to like, oh, how can I get back to like my old recommend?
Find what you recommended. The worst is when you like start like kind of like binge watching a channel, and then like you they don't post anything new for a little bit, and then they're off your recommended, and then you're just like, what did I used to watch? Like, who are the person? Especially if I'm not like a person who like subscribes a ton, because I just for some reason don't click that button because I just don't want it to be filled. But I don't know why I don't, because it doesn't even matter for you recommended at this point. But I don't know. Usually I just don't hit the subscribe button.
That's really interesting because that's something that I've noticed for myself too. I think I definitely subscribe more like today and like this year than I have in the past. But is it like a psychological thing?
I don't know. I do a lot more now when I've been making videos. Like I definitely like stuff more, stuff like that, than I normally did, just because I'm just watching your videos. So, especially, if I'm watching on my computer, if I'm watching on my like living room TV, it's not even connected to an account, so I don't do anything like that. So whoever's recommended is recommended. But
right.
So, yep.
That's true too. It matters if you're like actually signed into an account or not while you're watching.
Yep. All right, let's get to our viewer question.
Ooh, I'm excited for this one.
Because we finally had a viewer question. It's actually one of our former roommates in college. His name's Elliot.
Very exciting. Thank you for the question.
Yes, thank you, Elliot. He asked us, if you could support yourself financially doing YouTube or gaming, would you switch to one of those full time? And then he said which too.
I'll let you answer first.
Okay. Well, I feel like I've probably talked about, I don't know if I've talked about it on the podcast, but if I was doing, I guess I would realistically I would do either, but if I'm in gaming, I better be doing YouTube and stuff like that. Financially, I feel like that would just be smart, but we're just going to go with, if I could be a YouTuber, would I switch to those full time? There'd have to be a point. I like set it in my mind. Obviously I'm not going to get there, but like I have to be making more than what I make now, and then it has to be like consistently.
Right.
So not like one good month of like
sustainable.
Just like a insane amount of money, and then like the next month is bad. Plus, there's like, when you have like bills to pay, obviously you want to make sure it's consistent and you always have like that kind of stuff. So I think it would have to get to a certain point where it doesn't make sense for me to like continue working at like my current job or whatever, or like my current job is taking too much time from like YouTube and I'm doing way better on YouTube. So that's how I would go about it. I don't know what that mark would be, just because I don't know how much money you make and stuff. But I mean, if like I had like $1 million, I think I would quit. But I don't know under that.
$1 million subs or like $1 million a year in revenue?
$1 million subs.
Because that those are two different numbers.
If I'm hitting $1 million in revenue, there's no way I'm working a normal job.
That's fair. Yeah.
Not like not for what I make. So if I was making that, I would be long gone. But I don't know exactly how much you make. Like at each point, if you make like 100,000 at like what point? So without like brand deals or anything like that.
That's true too. You have to have like a lot of avenues of income.
Yeah. So I mean that's really how I would do it. I mean obviously if I ever got to a point where I think I could, I'd probably try to do it. It depends on what age I was at. Like if let's just say right now, like this year I randomly hit 1 million subscribers. It's not going to happen. But like hypothetically, if I hit that, would I go full time? Probably, because I know, like, let's just say it lasts for 5 years or whatever, and I'm only 30 and I can easily get back into the workforce.
That's true.
And do that, or I could have enough saved up that I wouldn't have to work for a really long time, or like already establish like some sort of company that I can run.
Well, my follow-up question to you would be, we've established this number of like 1 million subscribers, but like how much really do you think it is to like support yourself? Like maybe 100,000. Like if you had 100,000 subscribers, you're probably getting decent video views and probably enough to like maybe make that leap.
That's what it would be hard to consider. Like say I'm really thinking like if I continue doing exactly what I do now, could I keep my job? And let's say I'm making $100,000 on YouTube for a year. The only problem is with YouTube, I assume from like what I know, you don't have like health insurance, you don't have like 401k and all that kind of stuff. So you have to pay for all that. And we're like, so then that's another thing you have to worry about. And then what if 1 month you can't make a YouTube video or something? Or like something happens and your revenue starts going down. So I think I would still like to have that consistent like base income. If it doesn't cause me like a too big of a drop or something, like I just start like getting flat on YouTube and like nothing's growing, I think that would be, I would have to make sure it's like continuing growing and I know it's going to keep working.
But that's kind of why like, it's so good right now to like build, I'm not saying like a nest egg per se, but like, build your investment portfolio, not only in like traditional things such as like stocks and, housing, if you can, do that, or I guess real estate was the actual term I was looking for there. But like yourself too, right? Put in the work now, whether that's YouTube or, another hobby that you have, so that like you have all these branches and avenues. It goes back to that kind of like wheel and the spokes thing I was talking about last week. Like that. Then if you ever have that like really off period of time, whether that's, you can't release a video or like just sales aren't working out or whatever it is for you, like it all will be okay.
Yeah. I mean, obviously that would have to happen. I wouldn't just be like, okay, let's just say I make $100,000. I just start living on that $100,000 lifestyle and just like, all right, I'm going to do whatever I want now. Cause I know, like I assume I'm going to keep growing. Like I wouldn't do that. I think I'm smart enough to do that, but, that
live
like
within your means.
Yeah, exactly. But that's where I would be like, would I just continue living exactly like how I do with my job? Like keep my job and then just hope YouTube keeps going. If YouTube keeps going, I can just quit the job. Then that's what I would do. But there would have to be a point where I would think it would be worthwhile to quit and I could do it for a decent amount of time.
And I'd have to imagine, I'm sure that people have made this decision, would tell you, the truth. And I'm going to speak for them here, and hopefully I'm not speaking the wrong way, but my guess is that there's never like a definite point.
No.
You can just say yes. It's going to be something that it's going to eat you, on the inside, thinking whether or not you made the right choice, and you won't know until.
Yeah. I mean, it could be one bad day at work and you're like, I'm making enough on YouTube and I'm done. Like, I just don't want to be here anymore. So I think that's also like the point. Like you can say like, I need to make this much money to go full time. And then one thing happens, like you get laid off or something. You're like, all right, now I'm full time. Let's go for it.
Something will kick you to make that jump.
Yeah, like it. Obviously, you can say anything you want, but like it won't happen until like you're in that situation where you're like, should I just go for it and like hope for the best? So.
And no one can tell you the right thing either. Just like we said like multiple times with like coming up with videos. No one can tell you the right direction to live your life.
No, and it's just. I mean, it depends. Like, there's so many different factors that you have to deal with that you have no control over. So I guess you can answer this now. I've rambled on where I'm at.
I mean, I think I've kind of already led on to the way that I'd go with like how I was, answering or talking about it with you. But I would definitely say yes. I would not do gaming anymore. I've done amateur gaming. I've been close to competitive gaming on multiple occasions in multiple games. Number one, my wrist wouldn't be able to take it. I know where I am right now with like my ability to play games. My body cannot handle that kind of 8 to 10 hour days that they put in playing games. YouTube, on the other hand, yes, I would have to. It'd have to be something that I see value in long term. So if I'm making reaction videos, I do like money, and so that'd be nice. But
see, that's where I'll just jump in right here. If for some reason like you did become big, that would be definitely one you just throw in there. Like you have to have these second and third channels that you like have another like. So if those die, it's like whatever, your main channel's still growing strong.
Obviously, I think you have to have them, and you have to build those side hustles. Or side hustle is a bad word to use for that, but like the side forms
side
of
businesses,
to support the main thing. But I want to provide value. Going back to that podcaster that talk I was telling you about, Mr. Beast, like he thinks he can provide value and meaning to his life in a way that he's giving back to others, right, and making other people's lives better. I don't think I'll ever have that kind of money to like donate and give away like he does, but I want to work on something that I find like introspective like value in. So whether that be I'm making games that make people happy and it's able to get them through their day, or some sort of software that's able to I don't know, make something in some people's lives better, or even just YouTube videos, the same kind of entertainment value. So it would have to be something that could constantly grow in and provide value for like my conscious sake, I guess.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. I mean, if it's something that you're enjoying and finding that you're actually like is doing something for you, it definitely makes it a lot easier. Because I mean, I'm not saying you can easily do this, but like there's definitely people out there that keep doing the same thing because they feel like they have to, and that's like when I mean obviously
they get boxed in.
Yeah, like obviously that could work for real world stuff. Like real world stuff, you have to have a job, so you just keep working, and that's just how it works. Like you don't take a risk like going to YouTube or something like that. Like you're just like, all right, I know I will consistently make this, and I'll be good if I do this. And then like you have a jump off point in YouTube. Like, do you go with that? Like that's always something that you have to worry about. So there's just so many things that you would have to consider before going full time. At least in me, there's probably people out there that are like. I'm not talking about people that are like 18 that are like, I can go to college and just like blow off college, but do YouTube. That's working fine with me and just like hope for the best. I'm talking about like us in our situation right now where we're both mid-20s. So like there's consequences if we just stop doing what we're like normally doing. So a lot to consider there.
Definitely. I'd say the one thing for me that has like the biggest benefit of doing something like this is free time. And someone might, hear that and be like, well, Hans, you just don't understand. You're going to be putting in 10 to 12 hour days. Like you're going to be putting in more work than you would have done in a real job. But the difference is it's all about like, the flexibility. You're not working 9 to 5 anymore. You don't have to be at the desk, or, if you're standing up at your job doing something, you don't have to be at the specific spot doing something. You can travel.
Yeah. You can be up at 2 a.m. if you want to, you can, editing.
Exactly. You get to choose the time. You get to choose the place. You get to dedicate how much and scale it however much you want to fit your, lifestyle. Yeah.
No, and I know people that, like, I've watched bigger YouTubers and they'll talk about this kind of where they're, like, working, but they, they try to set themselves up in, like, a normal work day so it feels normal to them. And then, like, their free time is, like, when everyone else is free, not like, oh, I'm free from 9 to 5, but no one else is free, so I'm just kind of chilling by myself. So that's also something that you would figure out once you go full time. Like, what do I want to do? What schedule works best for me? So, and then also, I mean, it depends. Like I said, I think I said this last week that I was watching a lot of like group stuff. Like, if you have like a group and you guys are all in the same schedule, then it's a lot easier.
More fun.
It just makes it like, okay, we're all going to do the same things together, and like you guys are all done together, and then like there's a certain point you hire staff. Like, there's just like so many things that you could make it as much and as little as you want it to be. I feel like
you figure it out with people too. You know, it's that experience in the journey.
Yeah, I've been watching too many group YouTubers, and I'm like, man,
now you have the idea in your head.
I do, but I don't have any. Like, who else am I going to get? Like, let's just say me and you, we're a group. What do we do? What are we talking about? Or like, what do we?
I mean, we can be a group on giving each other ideas and like how to make our videos better and like but like the ways to improve and like grow as a channel. But I don't know if we can, unless we made a second. We each made more channels and we had like a gaming channel, for each of us. But
see, like the gaming one, okay, 2 groups I've been watching recently. One's called 2Hype. I guess we're going off the question now. I hope we answered the question, Elliot. And we're now going to transition a little bit off to it, I feel like.
Thank you for the questions. Keep submitting questions if you have them.
Thank you.
That's the moral of the story.
But, yes. So, I've been watching this group. They're pretty big. They're called 2Hype. They like do basketball and like content and stuff like that together. I know Mr. Beast had a group. I don't really watch Mr. Beast too much. And then there's this other one which is like golfing and stuff, and they like play golf together. Like, they obviously have their own videos, but like it's really easy to be like, hey, you want to be in my video today? And then that's like your content. Like, you now have someone to do that.
You have to be in similar lanes.
Yeah, so like you can game with people, and it's like kind of the same. Like, it probably works better if you're streaming. Like, you're streaming with the same 4 people like every day,
right?
And people pick what view they want to watch. But for YouTube, I don't know. I've just been watching like people do golf videos. I'm like, it's so much easier to collab with somebody and have like a solid collab. It's obviously a lot easier when you guys are full time and you can make your own schedules, and like this is now your job. But
you can like in the middle of the day go meet up with someone. You don't have to be constrained to meetings and work.
Yeah, exactly. And even that, I mean, like you can schedule meetings with the dude in your group. So
true. I've
been watching that. I'm like, man, I wish I like had a group, but it doesn't work that way. I'm
not good enough.
Well, we have a podcast together, but like I'm just saying, what content would we make together that would like, other than we would have to go down like the Mr. Beast route and not really have like a general like you're just in the videos kind of thing.
Right. I mean that is. I think for us probably the best way for it to work. And I think it could work too, right? But
probably
maybe not as well.
I mean, obviously not. We're not gonna get like whatever millions of subscribers he has, but. Yeah, I mean, like, it could work, but the problem is we would also need, like, other people to do that, and, like, we're at the point in our lives that you just don't go up and find someone that's like, hey, I'm interested. I mean, I guess we could.
We could go, like, yes theory, and just go ask people if they want to be in videos.
That's true, but I was thinking more like, hey, like, I have this video idea, you want to be in it, and, like, have, like, 3 people that are, like, consistently in the videos, or, like, I'll be in their videos, and, like, stuff like that.
Well, I know some friends. Well, let's start, taking down names and, going knocking door to door.
Say, hey, you have to be in this video. I'm going to shove a camera down your face until you're comfortable with it.
Actually, I was just thinking about that. Speaking of cameras, how expensive are GoPros? Because if I'm still hesitant about putting my, face on camera on YouTube.
What would you be doing with a GoPro?
But I'm potentially going to be traveling across, the U.S. and doing.
Would you feel a GoPro is more convenient than like a normal camera? Like, there's like point and shoot cameras that are 4K quality that are cheaper than a GoPro.
I guess it depends on what the quality is. Like, you'd have to go look and see what people use for vlogging.
Don't worry, I was literally looking this up like yesterday.
So they're saying that GoPros aren't the thing anymore?
Well, no, GoPros are fine if you want something small. So, like, a lot of people that I watch with GoPros right now, like, either, like, strap it to their backpack, put it on their helmet or something like that.
Right.
But a lot of them have, like, a real, like, DSLR that they have as their main camera.
Those are expensive, too, though.
They don't have to be.
Really?
If you get, like, the brand new, like, super expensive DSLRs, they're crazy expensive. But you can find one you can find one that I think does 4K video or at least 1080p like perfectly fine for like $600.
I mean, I would still consider that expensive. But I mean,
GoPros are like 800.
Yeah, GoPros are equally
like the nice GoPro, not like the cheap GoPro.
right.
Yeah. So I mean, like, and the GoPro has like kind of one function basically, like, and
True.
you only have one lens. Where like a DSLR, you can change the lens, change how you want it to
I mean,
look.
that's a fair point too.
And there's a lot more you can do on it. So like that would be, you just have to determine like, do you want to use the GoPro and use all its attachments because that's like one of the big benefits of it, or do you want like a DSLR and kind of like vlog style everything?
Another thing that might just be cool is if I'm not ready to go that avenue yet, doing like drone footage, because then I could like lace in drone footage of like cool things that like I'm doing like while talking. Like something I've seen like in my different like programming people's videos is like they'll lace in like videos of their house or like, you know, naturey things in to like kind of break up the segments, and I think that keeps people like tied in.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that could work too. But you know, the really nice drones are in like the at least $1.5 grand.
Yeah, those are pretty ridiculous. You'd have to.
But they're nice.
That'd be more of a commitment than like a DSLR or something like that. So, and then you have to like find ways to use it. Like obviously, there's points where you're like, all right, this would add nice B-roll and that kind of stuff into like your content, but would it add $1,500 or whatever, $2,000?
You have to weigh how much
content?
time it would take to get your money back on it.
Plus, you have to learn how to fly it and
that's
get
true
good
too.
footage.
You know, I have a drone in my closet right now that records in 720p, but it's plastic and it doesn't hover well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it does hover, but not well. When it's plastic, the wind takes it's not very heavy. And the other thing too is like, it's impossible to fly because it's so hard to tell from like which direction's forward and back. That's why it's really nice the ones that have like the camera that you can see like what its perspective is.
Yeah. No, I mean that's like, I feel like a drone is like a later on like I need to spice up my content kind of thing. I mean, if for like travel vlogs, I feel like it'd be good. But if you're just like trying to just use it for B-roll, then I don't know if it's like worth it really. Like I feel like you can get pretty good B-roll on a normal camera.
I think that I could do well doing travel vlogs. I really do. But I just don't think that I want to be out there.
A travel vlogger?
Well, I mean, not definitely that, number one. But number two, I just don't want people to recognize me in public.
I mean, you'd have... The biggest problem I would have, not even being recognized, would be being in public.
Oh, like recording while in public?
Like recording yourself talking. Like, that's why I wouldn't really want to go to a sneaker store unless for some reason I can be like, hey, can I come early and, like, do this by myself, basically? And, like, me and my cameraman.
Right.
Like, I wouldn't want to be like, hey, can I do this? But, like, they, like, also have people go in there. So I'm just like, that'd be weird. And, like, vlogging would just be weird.
Well, some stores don't even let you record in the place.
No. For me, I could probably, if I, like, had enough, like, clout, really, you could go and be like, hey, can I come in and record today or something?
You might need to get it a little bigger.
No, I'm not saying me right now. I'm saying me with like 100,000 subscribers. Could I say like, hey, to the store, like, hey, I'll shout you guys out, whatever, but can I come shop there? And like, I don't need a discount. I literally just want to shop when no one else is there. So
there you go.
That was a lot of YouTube for the day.
Yeah, I was going to go somewhere else, but I don't really remember where I was going to go with it. Oh, yeah, I do remember. So I said that I don't want to be recognized in person, but the funny thing is, even though I've never shown my face, that's kind of irrelevant, but people have recognized me by my voice before. So I am afraid still, even without like showing my face, that people will still recognize me out in public if I were ever to, get to that level of like status, that people would recognize my voice. 'Cause, there was times where I'd be walking like across campus where people that I knew supposedly, I don't remember the people at all, but from middle school and elementary school doing like different sporting things, that they recognized my voice.
That's impressive.
From those.
Since, you hit puberty.
It wasn't, well, maybe that just means that my voice never got deeper. But first or like, elementary school through middle school, and they remembered me, and it wasn't just one person, it was multiple people.
Yeah.
What am I doing with my voice?
I ran a couple of people, but they recognized me, not my voice. So
people recognize me. Like, I have like a mask on, like a hood on, and people recognize me through my voice. Like,
dang, you're famous.
well, I mean, not famous. It's people I've known in real life, but impressive.
It is impressive. I don't think if it depends at what size I was at. I don't think I would really care about that. Just because if I'm not like, if you're not really in like, I guess I don't know. It depends. If you like, if I'm in a sneaker store and people start recognizing me, like I'm saying, also I'm much bigger than I am now. Then I'm like, whatever. Like it makes sense that these people recognize me. If I'm in like, I don't know, like Five Guys or something, someone's like, hey, are you are you cheapies? So I'd be like, yeah, what's up? But like that would be a little weird. But like if I'm in my element kind of, then I would be like, that makes sense.
Well, I mean, I think if someone came up to me and like asked me if like I was so and so, I'd be like, yeah, I think a tough thing would be like, well, are you so and so? And like I don't have my photo on the internet, right? And then they're like, can I take a picture of you? Then what do you say then? Because like I don't want to be a a-hole, but at the same time, like like if you let people take a photo of you, then like you're now on the internet.
If let's just say you're that big, I'm gonna say someone finds out.
Someone's gonna dox you no matter what. Yeah.
I'm gonna. Oh, plus, like, I just think you would show up. Like, someone would find out what you're gonna look like. So at that point,
you're right.
If someone's finding you, then it wouldn't be that big of a deal, and people kind of know what you look like. Like if you're like some of these people now that only do no face cam kind of stuff, then it'd be a little difficult. But whatever.
The nice thing is, I don't think the general public goes out of their way to look for the no face people.
No.
Like online, like, whoa, what does this person look like?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be someone that would hopefully be a fan of you, and I doubt they would attract a ton of attention. Like, you're hopefully not in some situation where one person comes up to you and is like, can I take a picture with you? And then everyone kind of like, oh, I need to take a picture with them. They might be famous. And then you're just kind of screwed from there.
Yeah, I mean, some people are in it for that kind of thing. I am not. I'd never want to be famous and have people recognize me.
I probably wouldn't like it, but I wouldn't care. Like if I was ever in that situation, it wouldn't be like, oh no, like someone recognized me. I'd probably actually not be comfortable with it because I'd be like, I don't want to be recognized. Like I already don't want to see like some random person that I went to school with in middle school and be like,
I know that person over there. Let's go the other aisle.
No, like they're like, oh no, they're my server at this restaurant. That's really weird. Do they recognize me? Do I say something? And just like, let's hope not.
Well, on that note, we do know each other. Thankfully, we are okay with seeing each other. We don't go unless
debatable.
You hide from me, like, and you've seen
I was
me.
just more saying, you said I was okay seeing you. That's debatable. Am I really okay seeing you? Do I tolerate it? That's the better question.
Where I was going with this was, we were roommates, right?
But they were roommates.
We were housemates.
True.
And we also knew each other, before that when we did not live together.
Well, you did live with me for one day.
I did live with you for a single day. That is true. So we met at a branch campus of OSU. We had our own apartments there. I'm not trying to steal the thunder here, so if you have anything to say, you can chime in.
No, you go. Keep going. This is how we met. Well, really, we were in the same class
for a long period of time.
And we didn't really talk. You talked to my roommate a little bit. That's more how we became friends.
Right.
And then I talked to you more than my roommate talked to you after that. So.
Yeah. And then we ended up living in the dorms together. And eventually we had a year where neither of us lived on campus. We lived together. And then we had separate apartments. Left you forever. And that was the end of that. We'll get more in depth with like the college experience stuff later, but the reason we wanted to bring it up because I thought it'd be fun if we did a roommate compatibility survey to figure out if we were actually meant to be together. So we have all the stuff that we're integrated in. We're working together on the podcast and doing some other fun things. So are we actually, should we have been roommates and should we still be working on the podcast together? I don't know.
Well, the one link I did put in there isn't really a compatibility thing. It's what kind of roommate are you? Well, if you're like a good roommate or not?
Well, I'd imagine if we're both good roommates, it means we're compatible.
Probably.
So I think that we should just take the survey. I'll ask the questions. Okay. You give the answer. I'll give my answer.
It's a BuzzFeed quiz for everyone, just so everyone knows.
If you want to fill it out, it's a BuzzFeed quiz. It's
we'll link in the description.
Are you a bad roommate? That is the name of the quiz.
We will link in the description. You guys can also subscribe to our YouTube channels in the description. Got to plug that in there.
And leave a like.
And
Share it
leave a
with your
like.
friends.
Yeah, do anything you
Hit
can.
the bell. But, if you want to answer along with us and let us know in the comments what your survey is, please do. So let's start off with the first question. When you have an issue, how do you solve it? There's a couple of answers. It's calmly talk about it ASAP so it doesn't get worse. Let loose on them. They deserve your honesty. Give them the cold shoulder, the silent treatment. Do little things to make them realize you're upset. Awkwardly try to get them to bring it up, or just leave it be. A potentially awkward fight isn't worth it.
I'm trying to feel like the one that I think I should do versus the one I would actually do is my problem. What are you answering for this one?
I'm going to say just leave it be, because I know that multiple times throughout the course of like being in the apartment, I would say it was like an 80-20. It was an 80-20 between talking about it right away, not like meanly talking about it, but like just like, as like mentioning it and talking about it right away. But the 80% of the time, I'm just like, it's just not worth it. I'd rather not even argue about it. I'll grow up and we'll move on.
All right, I was going with the same thing.
Well, that's a good place to start. We're the
That
same
is.
so far. Do you always replace the toilet paper roll?
This one, we're going to...
I'm not going to read through all the answers.
First, we also... So, in our dorm, we had we had a bathroom for all 6 of us. There were 6 of us all in one lounge. But, like, everyone else had to share the other, 8 or something like that? Everyone else
only
on the
4.
floor. So, there were only 4. I didn't really use them. We had our own.
Yeah.
And it was never really a problem. The only real problem was we had one roommate whose parents bought toilet paper.
That's true.
And like we used that. And after that was gone, we had to go down to the front desk and get it. Great. Because everyone else's was supplied to them. But ours, we had to go get it because we had our own thing, which was annoying.
Steal it. Because I think one time or 2 times
we did steal it
off the floor.
Probably. Well, they got replaced. So
that's true. And
then when we lived together, we lived on opposite floors. So we really didn't use each other's bathroom.
Or we
did
not share bathrooms, rather.
No. So this one's a little hard to answer, at least like as a roommate kind of thing. But for this one, I'm going to say I always put an extra roll just in case.
Okay, so you're going to go extra roll just in case. I'm going to say hell yes every time. I mean, there's extra rolls like under the sink or by the thing, so I'm not really sure. Like I'm doing the, I'm going to put extra rolls out, but like if it's out, I'm going to, take the other old roll out and put a new one in.
See, I'd use the backup one and then just leave the backup. Like I would leave the one on the thing still and just like have the new one like sitting on somewhere. That'd be me.
Well, that's not an option.
But I would I would make sure there's an extra one in there and not
just put every time.
Nah, I'm extra roll. Trust me.
That's cheap. Anyways,
it's not.
How often do you clean your dishes? Oh, this one would really irritate me.
This one, so when we lived together, well, the dorms we didn't have dishes, I guess. We kind of did, but we didn't really have dish soap, so we washed them in a sink with like hand soap. At least that's what I did.
Was this at the dorms?
In the dorms. Like I had one bowl that I would use.
Okay,
I didn't have dish soap.
I forgot about that. I was like, I didn't have any dishes.
No, I had one bowl that I'd make ramen in.
That's right.
And that was it.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, ramen's disgusting.
The sink with dish soap. Now it's all coming back to me. It's all flooding back.
When we lived together, I would definitely made sure I would get them like after I cooked for the most part. Where like now I don't have to because it's my house. But together, I would make sure it was usually done eating and then wash them. So that's where I'm going.
So for me personally, I would say 90% of the time that I clean off the pots and pans before I even eat. Like, and then when I say 90% of the time, or maybe it's less than that, because sometimes you can't. The things are just sitting in it. Yeah. But like, if I'm making like a meal for just myself, it's just like a one-person meal. It's not like a whole group meal. Like, I'm making enough that it goes on my plate. I'm cleaning out the dishes, putting them in the drying rack, and then I'm taking my plate with my stuff on it.
See, I like eating first, like right when it's fresh. I don't want to wait and clean the dishes. Like if I'm clean, like I'll clean stuff as I go. Like if I don't need it, like say it's like a measuring cup or something. But like the final thing, I'll eat first and then do that.
Well, that's why I had to add that clarifier, right? If I'm making it for a bunch of people, that means that there's going to be pots and pans, everything's just sitting in. That's going to get done afterwards. But
yeah,
I'll say I clean them as soon as I'm done using them.
Okay. All right, next one.
How often do you clean the apartment?
So this one probably is going to be one of the bad ones. For our apartment, well, because we only really shared one area together.
You cleaned the apartment once, maybe twice.
Yeah.
Our other two roommates did not clean it at all.
Well, and I also cleaned it when we moved out because I was the last one to move out.
Yeah. Okay.
Or I think you were there too, weren't you?
I did come back and help clean.
Yeah. And they charged us for that stupid thing.
They
left
did charge
over.
us, but
that was left to us.
I was the one who cleaned the apartment the most, and that was
True.
because every single time that we were gonna have people over, I was always just like, we can't have the apartment looking like this, and so I would go out, and I hate cleaning, but I would go out of my way to clean the downstairs floor.
Same. I'll go a couple times a year then.
If this was room, it'd be a different story because my room does not get cleaned.
No, my room doesn't get cleaned either. But like the kitchen I would clean. I wouldn't clean really the rest of it. I guess like sort of the dining room. Like I would clean up after myself basically.
I'm smiling right now because I'm loving this next question. Have
Okay.
you ever gone into your roommate's room when they weren't there? Tell the truth. Now this is a good one.
I mean, I think for the most part, I'd only do it if I asked first. Like, I'd be like, hey, can I get something out of your room?
So, yes for dorms for both of us.
Well, dorm, we lived together, so you didn't really know because it was our own privacy. Like, we would just walk into our own room. But when we lived separately, I'm going to say...
Yes, but only if you had permission?
Yeah, for the most part.
Well, that makes
I think
me
there's
feel better.
probably time. I think maybe once or twice I would go in if I knew you had something in there that I couldn't find, like scissors or something. Like I would just go get them because I'd be like, I know where they are. It's not like I'm gonna snoop through your room to find something.
So I did go in your room multiple times when you weren't there, but only because the router was in your room. And there would be times where the router would overheat and I had to restart it. So that was when I would go in your room.
That's a permission thing. I would understand that one.
Other than that, no.
I think they're more going like, are you snooping through someone's room, which like I wouldn't do.
All right, so yes, but only if I have permission. That's what.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go yes if I really need something because technically I didn't really have permission, but you know.
Well, I would count that as permission.
Do you borrow their shirt? That's no, right? No, I don't borrow anything without asking. No.
No, I wouldn't do anything if I only had the permission.
I guess yes if I had their permission, but. Because it does have shower products and towels there. So like maybe if it's like a one-day thing and like I'm out of shampoo.
Yeah. I feel like I definitely did that like once or twice. Like I would just use someone's stuff because I'm like, oh, I forgot. Like either I forgot it. Like the worst is when you would like, we left all our stuff in the dorm, I think for the most part. But like say you were out and you're just like, oh no, I need one thing, one time use. Let me just use it. But, like, I'm not going to ask mid-shower.
That's
like,
true.
hey, can I use your stuff? Like, I'm just going to use it.
You're not going to get out of the shower and go run down the hallway.
Yeah.
Like,
hey, can I use your shampoo?
This next one, I did not read these questions before we started this, so I'm
going to go with the middle one. You can skip it.
Do you have really loud sex in the apartment? You know, we've already talked about other things that are way worse than this, so I genuinely... I'm going to have you tell me. I don't think that I did.
I don't think so.
But...
Well, I had Luke live above me, so
that's true.
So really, this wasn't a problem for us.
You and I would be the only people that this happened to.
Yeah, sadly.
And I would say no for you too.
Okay.
So I think for both of us, it would be no, I would never.
All right, that sounds good.
But that was a fun question. I didn't expect that one. It made me laugh.
I saw this earlier, and I was like, oh, wait, I forgot it until we just did it again.
Do you pay your bills on time and regularly help chip in for apartment essentials? I would say yes for you.
I would say yes. I definitely don't try to make sure, I make sure I'm not late on anything.
And I think it's yes for me too.
I would, yeah.
Because even if I forgot, there's no way my parents would forget, and their names were on everything too, so, that it wasn't happening.
Yeah, I would, bills and stuff, I definitely wasn't forgetting. And then I don't think for the essential stuff, I mean, like, other than what we initially brought to the apartments or, like, the dorms, there wasn't really, like, essentials that each of us were buying, I guess.
I mean, it was kind of both bathrooms on their own for, like, toilet paper.
Yeah.
And, like,
so, like, we didn't technically share anything, me and you.
No.
So, all right, next question.
Do you leave your stuff all over the common area? Now, if this was somebody else, I would say that they do. But for us, no.
No. I mean, the only time I maybe would leave, like, my backpack or something, but...
Right.
That was it, but I don't think... No, not for the most
part.
But
there was a lot of things, especially in my second apartment, that got left.
Yeah, I didn't live in the second apartment.
In the dorms, it was way worse than our apartment, even though.
Yeah. In my first one, I mean, technically we did, but like we didn't use our bedrooms because we didn't have Wi-Fi. Like in my first apartment.
That's true.
So like everything, I mean, like our common area was also like our living area. Like that's where we used 99% of the day.
I didn't even leave things in my like common area when I lived by myself, like in my living room.
Nice. I mean, I do it now, obviously. I'm not going to not leave stuff at my house.
But my bedroom's always basically been my living room anyways, so.
Yeah. Yeah, normally that's my bedroom or like my office or where's most of my stuff is.
Do you ask before inviting someone over? This is a good one.
I feel like it was only if it was going to be a lot of people is what I'm going to go with.
That's what my answer is too. I think if it's just a single person, there's no reason to.
Yeah, because I feel like there's definitely times I would walk over and there'd just be someone random there and I'd be like, all right, what's up?
Right.
Like,
especially
it never
like
really
if you're in
happened.
like your room.
Yeah.
If it's
even in college,
area,
like in college, I kind of expect like if you're studying with someone, you don't have to say, hey, I'm going to bring over like two people to study with. Like if they're just there, it's like whatever. Especially like during the day when people are in and out, like you don't know you don't always know who's going to be there. Especially not in the dorms. It didn't matter because we all lived on the same floor for the most part. Like I didn't care if people were showing up.
Plus, it's just fun to meet new people too. So I mean, unless you're not throwing a rager without telling us that, I think
that I would like if it's a party, that would be the only time I would want to know if people are coming over. But that's it.
Do you ever eat food that isn't yours? It says be honest. I think we've been honest so far, so I don't think it'll stop us now.
I don't think so. I maybe like once or twice.
Maybe.
Like, but that
sugar.
I think it was mostly. I mean, like if that common stuff I don't really count, but I'm talking like I would have to have permission. Like someone said, hey, you could have like that last slice of pizza or something.
I'm trying to think, and I'm thinking that maybe one time when we were making something, I might have stolen some of Shelby's sugar. So if you tell her that and we're not friends anymore,
I'm gonna need that cup back next time I see you.
But
I'm gonna need
other than that, I can't think of anything.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I was pretty good about that for the most part. I assume so, unless someone literally was like, "Hey, there's like pizza in the fridge that you can have," and I'd be like, "Cool, thanks."
So I'll say yeah, but only if they give me permission. Because there's been times before that like I've been like, "Hey, like I have leftover canes, like you take my."
That's fine. That works for me.
Ooh, do you lay claim to the TV in the living room anytime there's something on that you want to watch?
I mean, I guess I did, but you had a TV in your room. Yeah, I'm talking about the apartment. You had a TV in your room, and I was also on the second floor, and I didn't have a TV in my room. So I would go downstairs and like cast something to the TV, but it wasn't used that much to begin with.
Yeah, for me, I don't really watch much TV, so I'm just gonna say I don't spend a lot of time in the living room because that's
I'm just gonna say first come first serve, but it wasn't really a problem with any of us.
No,
the only I guess in the dorms, but it was still first come first serve there too.
It was first come first serve in the dorms because we had more people in one TV.
Yeah.
In general, is it your way or the highway?
I feel like we're probably both going to say we're somewhere in the middle.
I'm definitely in the middle because there's some things that I do have a strong opinion on, and there's some things I'll give way.
Yeah. We're going to just get the same score out of this quiz. This one's, I feel like it's not that big of an effect on us. I guess you clean the shower would be the next question.
Do you clean your hair out of the shower? I don't. It's kind of gross.
We're both guys.
I don't clean the shower as much as I should.
No, me either.
I do make sure that if I like leave hair behind, that I will pick that out.
If it's like on the wall and stuff, I'd make sure it's like it's washed down. But like,
well, yeah, that's all you have to do, really.
But like we're both guys, so this hasn't really been a problem with our life.
It's been a problem with me in my apartments, though. There's been multiple times where I've had to pick up hair from other people in the bathtub.
Well, that's unfortunate. Then I haven't really had this problem too much.
Oh, for like it was like a weekly thing.
Nice.
So I would say not for me though.
I mean, do you clean up? Yeah, I guess no, not really, because it's not really a problem.
Yeah.
All right, next one. Last question.
How much time? Oh, is this really it?
Yeah.
Oh, this is going to be a really, really big one. How much time do you spend at home?
Okay, this one I feel like we have the same answer. I'm always home hanging out in my room.
I'm always home hanging out in my room. I think that would probably be like the only problem we really had like at the dorms too, was that like we had such a small confined space. Especially towards like the second half of the year, like we were both like just there a lot, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's hard to other than going to like the yeah, like we had our desk and like what we do on a daily basis, like before we lived with each other.
Right.
Like we were obviously in different rooms. Like we had to like our stuff that we do was in the same room. Luckily we had the common area, so it did help that we could be separated. But
and there's things to do on campus too, which helped a lot. But yeah, definitely spend most of my time.
All right, what you get?
Okay, you're actually a pretty great roommate.
No way, me
Is that we
too.
got two? I guess
Wow.
we were meant to be together.
I guess we weren't.
And I guess that means that we
roommates.
can make episode 6 next week.
There we go. We're not done with this week though. You forgot the important question.
We will move on to the most important part of the week, which is
little jingle in here.
Shelby's question of the week.
This might be some debating one too. But I'll read it. It
is your job to read the question.
What would be the most terrifying animal to start talking to you? We're gonna say you're not just like walking, but like you're just like kind of randomly walking, and an animal just starts talking to you. Which one would you be freaked out by?
Okay, I was gonna ask if it was gonna be like a plural or like a singular thing. If it's like one,
let's just say
or
a
like
single
a species.
Well, one animal at a time. Like let's just say you're like walking somewhere and like a bird just randomly starts talking to you. I'm not saying that would be like the terrifying one. And we're not going to count the zoo because I feel like the zoo would just give you bad. They would all be mad at you.
Well, I was going to say that about dogs. Like if like dogs as a species start talking to you, like holy crap, what do you think they think of people? Like oh god,
I feel like dogs would be pretty bad. Dogs would be good and bad because then they would just kind of yell at you all day.
Yeah.
And they would just be like, "Hey, I need this. But I think it wouldn't be that bad for a dog, especially like if it's your dog.
It depends on how well you treat your dog too.
Yeah, well, I would hope you're treating animals great. We're a very animal support
That's true,
podcast.
Obviously, yep.
Got to say that,
Yeah, people would take what I said the wrong way.
So do you have an animal that you'd be terrified of? I'll give you Shelby's. Shelby said ants. Because we kill them a lot and like they're just kind of like squished on and like stepped and like there's always a ton of them.
Although what's really interesting about ants is if you don't step down very hard, they'll actually survive that because they're like built to take that kind of like if you're like stomping and squishing, like that's one thing, but like if you're just like walking, they'll probably
just
survive
burn
that.
them. Do you think they're probably just terrified to see you every day? Probably.
They probably don't have like the memory to think about that kind of thing.
We're gonna go with my biggest fear anyways, which is spiders. Because could you imagine if you're just chilling in your room, like let's just say you got a spider in the corner of your room, like you don't know it, and one just like is like, hey, like you just walk in your room and they're just like, hey, get out of here, and you're like, what? Like who is that? What's up? Could you imagine if you're in Australia too with those giant spiders and one just is like, hey, it's my house now. You'd be like, you're right, see ya. Let me just burn it on the way out.
All I can think of is fish right now, like a fish in like a tank, just be like, help me. What are you doing? I'm trapped.
Runs into the glass.
Help me. Ow.
We're gonna go with a wild one because I feel like any animal that's probably trapped would probably not be happy.
Well, what about like SpongeBob with like the squirrels? What's her name?
Squirrels would be probably just annoying. Yeah, they would just be yelling at you all the time.
Like just like the fast twitch, like
you'd just be they're getting yelled at and you'd be like, I don't know what's going on, stop. And then they just run away and you're like, what just happened?
This might be my favorite question so far. I think we struck gold here.
Yeah, it's a good one. I'm going with a spider. What are you going with?
I'm gonna go with squirrels. I have to see them so often. So if like I like randomly ran into one and they're just like screaming,
yeah,
it's pretty creepy.
Another good one would be a raccoon, like the ones that are in the gutters.
Forget those exist.
In like the sewers when they're just like chilling there and like peeking their little head out when it's raining. And they're just like, hello, and you're like, why are you in there?
Nope.
But I'm going with spiders because I think they would just be chilling in the corner of your room and you wouldn't notice them and they would just start talking to you and they'd be like, I want to kill you, get out of my house, and I'd be like, sorry, let me throw something at you.
That turkey vultures are like,
those things are gross.
Crows, like that would be pretty scary.
Crows would be pretty bad, like ravens.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty scary if they like were circling you. There's a lot, really a lot of things would be terrifying depending on what they are. So, all right,
that's pretty
solid.
I
think that's it. That was good. I was trying to figure out how to even end a podcast, but thank you guys for watching and listening. Hopefully, this might have been on Spotify, and if it was, let me know in the YouTube comments.
Big claps to us.
And follow it. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channels. All links in the description. If it's on Spotify, follow us on Spotify, and then come over to YouTube, subscribe us on here.
We really appreciate it.
We do. Don't forget to like the video, do whatever, anything you can to make us keep growing. We had a whole 40-minute discussion about YouTube this episode, so I think you should help us out so we're not struggling on YouTube anymore.
Well, take care, everybody. Later.